Good day. This is SS302, Environmental Health. I'll be taking you through study section 3, Environmental Health, Air and Water Pollution. When you have studied this section, you should be able to define air pollution and highlight the major air pollutants. You should be able to explain the effect of air pollution on health. You should be able to describe water pollution with the major water pollutants. And lastly, you should be able to discuss the health impact of water pollution. What is air pollution? Air pollution is the contamination of air by the discharge of harmful substances. Air pollution can cause health problems including burning eyes and nose, itchy, irritated throat, and breathing problems. Above certain concentrations and durations, certain air pollutants are extremely dangerous and can cause severe injury or death. Air pollution can cause the environment, can damage the environment and property. Carbon monoxide, CO, is an odorless, colorless gas. After being inhaled, carbon monoxide molecules can enter the bloodstream, and where they inhibit the delivery of oxygen throughout the body. Low concentrations can cause dizziness, headaches, and fatigue. High concentrations can be fatal. So, carbon monoxide is one of the major air pollutants. Carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of carbon-based fuels, including gasoline, oils, and wood. It is also produced from incomplete combustion of natural and synthetic products, such as cigarette smoke. Another major air pollutant is carbon dioxide, which is also written as CO2. Is the principal greenhouse gas emitted as a result of human activity, for example, burning of coal, oil, and natural gas. Carbon dioxide can cause burns, frostbite, and blindness if an area is exposed to it in solid or liquid form. If inhaled, it can be toxic in high concentrations, causing an increase in the breathing rate unconsciously and can also lead to death. Another type of major air pollutant is chlorofluorocarbons. Chlorofluorocarbons are chemicals used in great quantities in industry, for refrigeration, air conditioning, and in consumer products. Chlorofluorocarbons are released into air, rise into the stratosphere, a layer of atmosphere above the earth. In the stratosphere, chlorofluorocarbons take part in chemical reactions that result in reduction of the stratospheric ozone layer, which promote the Earth's surface from the sun. Another pollutant is hazardous pollutants. Hazardous air pollutants are chemicals that cause serious effects and environmental effects. Health effects include cancer, birth defects, nervous systems problems, and death due to massive accidental releases. Hazardous air pollutants are released by sources such as chemical plants, dry cleaners, printing plants, and motor vehicles, including cars, trucks, buses, and planes. Another example is lead. Lead is a highly toxic metal that produces a range of adverse health effects, particularly in young children. Lead can cause nervous system damage and digestive problems, and such lead-containing chemicals can cause cancer. So we also have other examples such as sulfur dioxide and so on and so forth. Let's talk about the health effects of air pollution, especially in human beings. The human health effects of poor air quality are far-reaching, but principally affect the body's respiratory system and the cardiovascular system. Individual reactions to air pollution depend on the type of pollutant the person is exposed to, the degree of exposure, and individual's health status and genetics. People who exercise outdoors, for example, on hot, smoky days increase their exposure to pollutants in the air. The health Effects caused by air pollutants may range from subtle biochemical and physiological changes to difficulty breathing, wheezing, coughing, and aggravation of existing respiratory and cardiac conditions. This effect can result in increased medication use, increased doctor or emergency room visits, more hospital admission, and even premature death. Let's talk about the effect on the respiratory system. Effect of air pollution on the respiratory system. The health of our lungs and the entire respiratory system is affected by the quality of the air we breathe. In addition to oxygen, this air contains other substances such as pollutants, which can be harmful. Exposure to chemicals inhalation can negatively affect our lungs and other organs in the body. The respiratory system is particularly sensitive to air pollutant because much of it is made up of exposed membrane. Lungs are anatomically structured to bring large quantities of air, on average 400 million liters in a lifetime, into intimate contact with the blood system to facilitate the delivery of oxygen. Lung tissue cells can be injured directly by pollutants such as ozone, metals, free radicals. Ozone can damage the alveoli, more specifically airway tissues, which are rich in bioactivation enzymes, can transform organic pollutants into reactive metabolites and cause secondary lung injury. The following are the most prevalent diseases where air pollution is concerned. Number 1, major lung illness. The common cold is the most familiar of these, which with symptoms including sore throats, stuffy or runny nose, coughing, and sometimes irritation of the eye. Another example is lung infection. Another example is asthma. And let us also talk about the effect of air pollution on cardiovascular system. A wide spectrum of chemical and biological substances may interact directly with the cardiovascular system to cause structural changes, such as degenerative necrosis and inflammatory reactions. Some pollutants may also directly cause functional alterations that affect the rhythmicity and contractility of the heart. If severe enough, functional changes may lead to later arrhythmias, without major evidence of structural damage of the myocardium. There also may be indirect actions secondary to changes in other organ systems, especially the central and autonomic nervous systems and selective actions of endocrine system. Some cytokines released from other inflamed organs may also produce adverse cardiovascular effects, such as reducing the mechanical performance and metabolic efficiency of the heart and blood vessel. Many chemical substances may cause the formation of reactive oxygen. So these are some of the effects of air pollution on cardiovascular system. Let's move on as we talk about water pollution. Water pollution occurs when a body of water is adversely affected due to the addition of large amount of materials to the water. When it is unfit for its intended use, water is considered polluted. As you can see in the slide, in the presentation, the water is being polluted with all sorts of refuse and debts. Let's move on as we talk about the major water pollutants. There are several classes of water pollutants. Disease-causing agents. These are bacteria, viruses, protozoa, parasitic worms that enter sewage systems and are treated waste. Oxygen-damaging waste. They are waste that can be decomposed by oxygen required by bacteria. When large population of decomposing bacteria are converting this waste, it can deplete oxygen levels in the water. This causes other organisms in water, such as fish, to die. Let's talk about another major water pollutant, Water-soluble inorganic pollutants such as acids, salts, and toxic metals. Large quantities of these compounds will make water unfit to drink and will cause the death of aquatic life. Organic compounds such as oil, plastic, pesticides, which are harmful to humans and all plants and animals in the water. A very dangerous category is suspended sediment because it causes depletion in the water's light absorption, and the particles spread dangerous compounds such as pesticides through the water. Water-soluble radioactive compounds can cause cancer, birth defects, genetic damage, and thus very dangerous water pollutants. What are the health impacts of water pollution? It is a well-known fact that clean water is absolutely essential for healthy living. Adequate supply of fresh and clean water is a basic need for all human beings on the earth. Yet it has been observed that millions of people worldwide are deprived of this. Freshwater resources all over the world are threatened not only by overexploitation and poor management but also by ecological degradation. The main source of freshwater pollution can be attributed to discharge of untreated waste, dumping of industrial effluent, and runoff of agricultural feeds. Industrial growth, urbanization, and the increasing use of synthetic organic substances have serious and adverse impact on fresh water. It is a generally accepted fact that the developed countries suffer from problems of chemical discharge into the water sources, mainly groundwater, while developing countries face problems of agricultural runoff in water sources. Polluted water like chemicals in drinking water causes problems to health and leads to waterborne diseases which can be prevented by taking measures even at household level. Let's talk about waterborne diseases. Waterborne diseases are infectious diseases spread primarily through contaminated water. Though these diseases are spread either directly or through flies or filth, water is the chief medium for spread of these diseases, and hence they are termed as waterborne diseases. Most intestinal diseases are infectious and are transmitted through fecal waste. Pathogens, which include virus, bacteria, protozoa, parasitic worms, are disease-producing agents found in the feces of infected persons. These diseases are more prevalent in areas with poor sanitary conditions. These pathogens travel through water sources and interfuses directly through persons handling food and water. Since these diseases are highly infectious, extreme care and hygiene should be maintained by people looking after an infected patient. Hepatitis, cholera, dysentery, and typhoid are the major common waterborne diseases that affect large population in the tropical regions. A large number of chemicals that either exist naturally in the land or added due to human activity dissolve in water, thereby contaminating it and leading to various diseases, which include pesticides, lead, fluoride, these are some of the chemicals, nitrates, petrochemicals, chlorinated solvent, and arsenic. I hope you have learned one or two things in this study section, and I hope you will continue to learn more in the subsequent study sections. Thanks for listening.